What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Ace's Place 22, where I'm Ace, and this is my Place 22, and I am super excited because this is another... Well, I messed up how I wanted to say it, but this is another night of Ace's Thrills and Chills movie reviews. This is night 12. Night 12. Can you believe it? We're on night 12 already. We're like a third through the month. It makes me sick. We need to go back in time to when things were better. October 1st. Just the beginning. But here we are, October 12th, night 12th. Like I said, Ace's Thrills and Chills movie reviews, and we got a few of them that we're going to talk about here in this video. So please like and subscribe as always, and let's get right into it. So, today has been chocked full of stuff. Did some of this, did some of that. Hit this old lady with a wiffle ball bat. What are you gonna do, Grandma, when Ace comes running for you? That's all I got. I don't know. I'm on weird energy today. But I put out some videos. I think there's a Spooky Maze video out. There's a Power Rangers video out. And now there's going to be a movie review out of a few movies. 4 movies exact. So let's get into it and talk about them. The first one up is going to be this one here. I don't know how many people have seen it or heard of it, but it is called Cabin in the Woods. And you guessed it, this is going to be the one we actually talk about a little bit more in depth. So we'll skip that one and we'll go to the next one that I watched, which was, again, many people may not have heard of this. This is called Midnight Meat Train, and it is by horror guru Clive Barker, who brought us the Hellraiser franchise. I think there's a game called Jericho that he did or something like that. It's a little bit of a sick and twisted depraved man. There we go. I don't know how well you can see the case, but there we go. The Midnight Meat Train. Very, very, very odd name for a movie, but it all centers around this man here, Vinnie Jones, who travels on the trains late at night and just takes out whatever victims he wants in a pretty brutal fashion, with like a little meat hammer, essentially. There's a lot to unpack in the movie. It's a very strange and bizarre movie. It stars, like I said, Vinnie Jones. If you don't know who that is, give him a Google. Check out any project he's ever been part of. He is fantastic. And then you've got Bradley Cooper. Most people know who Bradley Cooper is. He's the main character in the movie. He is he's not a journalist, just a photographer, and he's trying to get within this little clique, this little group of fancy hoity-toity people, which actually the lady that runs it, or is the main, part of it, it is Brooke Shields. No relevance to me, but I know she's got a name in Hollywood, so there you go. And it all just centers around him following people, through the subways and stuff, and just taking their pictures, and then eventually stumbling upon stuff he should not know about, leading to a dark and horrible fate. The movie definitely takes a turn at in the third act with like, oh, okay, this is more than what I thought. It's very interesting. It's very kind of gross at times, very like, ooh, squeamish, but it makes for a pretty fun flick. I like it. Easily the best Clive Barker adaptation since the first Hellraiser film. That's Scott Weinberg of Cinematical? The Midnight Meat Train. Sharp and brutal. This movie came out in 2008, so it's a little bit older, but it's still good. I suggest you go check it out. Next up, we have got a classic starring Kathy Bates, James Caan, Stephen King's very own Misery. Now, if you have not seen this movie, I do suggest, again, go check this out. This is not monster movie. This is not, freaky deaky supernatural stuff. This is straight up, could happen to you, could happen to anybody, horror. Very simple movie. James Caan plays an author. He writes a series of books. He decides, you know what, I want to step away from writing those And unfortunately, this woman here is a sycophant and kind of, well, I'm not going to say kind of, traps him in a horrible situation, demanding that he continue writing these stories of this character that she so much admires, just leading down a horrible path of like, do what I say or these terrible things will happen to you. Again, it's very real. Someone could kidnap somebody and just do these terrible things to them. That's what makes a movie like this so freaky. Yes, Stephen King does a lot of supernatural monster horrors like It, the Pet Sematary movies, for instance, or Book. They're very supernatural horror, where this is suspense thriller horror. I really like this movie. It is a classic. So many people know of this movie. Tons of people really like this movie. Directed by Rob Reiner. He's a pretty famous director in the Hollywood sphere as well. So there's that movie. And up next, the third one. We got a couple of them here, huh? It is this one. My daughter picked this movie out, The Thing. This is the 2015 one? 2010 version of The Thing. Starring Mary Elizabeth Winstead. She's pretty awesome. Joel Egerton. And a handful of other actors that you would recognize their faces. This is a prequel to, I'm drawing a blank, and now I'm going to look like a fool, the 1984 Thing film, which is just an absolute classic of a horror film. Absolute. I will be talking about that movie at some point. But this is a prequel to it, showing you the events that led up to that movie. Not a necessary movie. It still serves a purpose, but I don't like it in comparison because it's so many years later, and we're going and we're using CGI, and you can tell. Straight up looks like Resident Evil video game graphics. Not bad, but they're noticeable, and especially from when you watch the original Thing from the 80s. With all the practical effects and stuff like that, it's just mind-blowing difference. And for that reason alone, I absolutely love the original Thing more than this one. But this is still a pretty fun time. It doesn't really change anything of what you've seen in the original one. It just gives you different characters in a different perspective, so to speak. Not bad. Next up, and finally, we've got this bad boy. This movie right here called Cabin in the Woods. Let me tell you a little history about this. Came out in 2011. I was 21 years old at the time, and I was very excited to go see this movie because the marketing absolutely made me bored, so I'm yawning. That's random. The marketing for this made it seem like it was going to be a new Evil Dead movie. Hence the name Cabin in the Woods. Not so much the picture that they're using of like a Rubik's Cube as the cabin. But they definitely made it seem like there was going to be a Evil Dead connection there just because of the trailer. I remember, or at least I feel like I remember it, the way it was shot and looked. And it makes sense that it's called Cabin in the Woods, because it harkens to almost every horror movie or horror movie icon or character you could ever possibly imagine. I am going to spoil this movie, of course, like I always do with certain ones, so if you don't want to hear it, get the freak out of here. But we're going to get right into it. This movie centers around a group of teenagers. All of the things in this movie are traditional horror movie tropes. The teenagers, the cabin, the monsters, the stereotypes, everything. So I'm not going to emphasize on like, oh, this is this, this is this. It's all homage, stereotype. It's all purposefully done like this. It's not coincidental. It's, oh no, we literally did that because they did that. It's nothing is a happy accident in this film, which makes it really fun, and it has its own original twist at the end, which I really, really dig. But you've got like Chris Hemsworth in it is one of the biggest names. Richard Jenkins, Bradley Whitford. People know these people. other people know these actors from other things. So it's got some pretty fun actors in it, of course, with Chris Hemsworth being Thor. It was written by Joss Whedon, if that matters to anybody. But anyways, the movie is a lot of fun. It centers around a bunch of teenagers, or a group of teenagers, going to a cabin in the woods. Hence the Evil Dead idea. They go into the basement. They find all these trinkets. The first trinket, so to speak, that gets tampered with or messed with releases a specific type of entity, a specific type of monster that is now out on the hunt to kill these teenagers. And that's really it. The twist is, though, all of these events are orchestrated by the government, because the government has actually been secretly holding gods. Yes, like a god. This huge Zeus-style god in the depths of our planet, and they have to make these human sacrifices to this god, or the world will end. If I haven't sold you on this movie yet, then it's not for you, because it's wild. But it's all done really, really well to where it doesn't feel messy. It doesn't feel like, what is going on here? Yes, of course, it's got that vibe, because it's still a, what the hell, till the very end. But it's never like, the reveals are really well done. So when the teenagers get to the cabin, they get into the basement, there's all these trinkets, they mess with them. Now, however it's orchestrated, you jump back and forth between like the government guys that are in like this secret bunker that are orchestrating everything. They have buttons and control panels. They're like, oh, we need to change the pheromones in this room to make the kids want to bang, so they're unexpected from the monster. So they press a button, and like gas kind of comes out of spots where natural gas would come from, or fog or what have you. And it's got toxins in it, I guess, if you'd want to call it, that would alter your state of mind. And I thought that was pretty cool. They do go a little far-fetched with some of the stuff, I mean, completely. But it's all done in the sense of like, oh, I believe it. Because they're making you feel like that world exists. Nothing is out of pocket to where you're like, well, that's not a thing, I'm done. Once they go crazy, they go full crazy. The teenagers start getting picked off one by one. Some of them find their way to this like little secret bunker place, and inside of it is one of the coolest scenes I've ever seen in a horror movie, where it's just straight bloodshed, chaos, and everything in between that makes it good. And they basically release, there's hundreds of these monsters that all look like classic horror movie monsters. There's a guy like Sawhead. He looks like Pinhead from Hellraiser. There's a clown from, clearly supposed to be like from It. There's all these different creatures that are reminiscent or doppelgangers, if you will, of the classic traditional monsters that we would know from our horror movies. And they release all these monsters at once, and all these guards that work in this facility come, rushing in the room. And it is just straight bloodshed. You get the gnarliest monsters too, and it's so, so good. One of the guys in the beginning of the movie was like, man, I just want to see someone get killed by like a merman or something like that. And then by that moment, you actually get to see that guy get killed by like a merman, and it's not what he thought. It's not what we thought. It's disgusting, and it's a lot of fun. And by the end of it, you literally realize there's a God in the earth. And if there's not these sacrifices, then everybody's going to die. And it's super freaking ironic, because I just shared on my channel earlier, like a survey, I guess it would be, of like which brunette bombshell did it better in the 80s. Gina Davis or Sigourney Weaver. And I watched this movie not realizing like, oh, Sigourney Weaver is in this movie. She's right at the very end as like the head of the government and saying, if we don't make this sacrifice, then the world is done, and blah blah blah. And the survivors are just like, well, screw it. Like, we just went through all that, and like, nah. And you see this, oh my god, the yawns. You just see this huge hand come up out of like the ground and just crush them and whatever. And then that's the end of the movie, and it's like, what? This was all real? It's a lot of fun. It plays into all the typical horror movie tropes of the dumb teenagers, the hooking up, the scares, the silliness, the just, even when they're going to the cabin, they stop at like a gas station, and it has the typical like old, dirty, you know, gas station attendant where it's like, all right, why do you have to be so creepy and suspicious? And they even play into that. They even play into that with that specific gas station attendant talking to someone later on in the movie, and they're like, what the frig? It's really cool. To me, this movie is almost like what the Scream franchise did for the like slasher horror movie genre. Like it brought life into it with its fourth wall breaking almost, and introspective look at horror from its own point of view in that movie. I feel like this movie kind of played around inside of that shadow as well. And I personally really liked it. I wish there was another one. I would like it if they come out with like Cabin in the Woods 2, because you could do prequels to this. I wouldn't mind that at all. And I feel like this would definitely be a fun like Halloween once a year kind of flick. I could be wrong, but it was a lot of fun to watch it. I do recommend it. The monsters are cool. The killing is cool. The acting is pretty silly, but it's on par for what this movie's asking for. And there's a whole bunch of other stuff that I left out just because it's totally worth you stumbling upon those moments in the movie when you're watching it yourself and being like, oh, okay, we're doing this? So I just try to sell you on what makes it a lot of fun and what could possibly get you to go watch it yourself. Other than that, those are my thoughts on The Cabin in the Woods. And those are my thoughts on Midnight Meat Train, 2010's The Thing, and the classic Misery. Other than that, I hope everybody is having a fantastic night here in spooky season. And this has been another night of Ace's Thrills and Chills movie reviews. And until next time, stay spooky, my friends. Trying to get it to where it looks cool, but it doesn't. Oh well. Bye!